God. Hello, lovelies. You know the drill. I'm sitting here looking a bit scraggly with no makeup on. It's probably because something isn't going super good. Also, before I get into it, there's like stuff I always mention at the end of a video that like by that point everyone's kind of tuned out anyway, so really quickly I'm going to mention not only my Patreon, which is excellent for supporting this channel and is extra needed right now, I have also started selling stuff on Vinted. I've tried to become a decluttering queen, and again that's about to become even more important than it was just because I was doing it because I felt like it, so the links to those are down below. I've got like a bunch of stuff up there. I'll talk more about them at the end, but just yeah, most people have like tuned out before I get a chance to mention that, so you don't even know. So basically, I am losing this house. I am going to have to leave, and pretty soon. Not as soon as my landlord is trying to get me to leave, because they sure do love doing that, but yeah. It is, at this point, maybe only like a week or something until the end of this tenancy agreement, and because I hadn't heard from my landlord, A, in the amount of time that would be like courteous, and B, in the amount of time that would be legal, I figured that there would be no changes, we're all good, I'd sign on for another year and that would be that, because if anything were to change there is a certain amount of time in which you're meant to inform people of that, and it hadn't happened, so I was like, amazing, I've got another year in this house and then I can decide what I want to do after that, because I had been thinking about some things which I'll get into later. But as it turns out, no. I got an email informing me that the rent is going up, in the landlord's own words, a significant amount. And this is having already gone up last year when I re-signed on for my tenancy. Which, just really quickly, because I've been getting like a lot of people confused about what's going on, trying to offer advice and stuff, which I really appreciate, but like maybe not fully understanding like how things work or like where I am in contracts and stuff. I have already spoken to the housing rights people. I've gotten all the information that is relevant to like my situation and exactly where I am, so I'm good on that front. Thank you all for your help, and just for the people who are confused, it's because my tenancy is like about to reach its end, so I'm not in the middle of a contract, I've just reached the end of one. But I've already found out all the legal stuff from like the official people, so I'm already on top of that. She has said that she was raising the rent like a pretty significant amount. It's already gone up, so now I'm like, it's far more than what I agreed to pay whenever I moved in here. And I had been afraid of this happening, but like I said, because of the time that had passed, I figured it wasn't happening this year, and I was like, fucking amazing, love that, but I was wrong. So yeah, I was given the ultimatum of pay the increased rent, which quite frankly, I can't really afford, as a single woman living alone, and also this house is like really expensive to like just live in. Like it mustn't be very energy efficient or something, because like it does not hold heat well. It's really hard to warm this place up. So I go through obscene amounts of money trying to keep this place warm. Also like the electric seems to go out faster than anywhere I've ever lived, and that's considering it's just me here instead of like two people like it used to be, which seems nuts. So it's just like an expensive house to live in, and also living out in Bangor, which when I first moved here I thought would be a great idea. It turns out no one can be bothered going to Bangor, so if I want to see any of my friends or do anything, I have to drive to Belfast, so it's also costing a lot in petrol. So for a lot of reasons, realistically, I don't think I could afford to be paying the higher rent. And also just at this point, out of principle, like I just don't want to, because some people live in places where their rent goes up every single year, as it turns out. That has not been my experience. I've been renting for 12 years, and before I moved to this house, my rent had gone up one time by a reasonable amount in that whole time. Sorry, there's like IKEA bags everywhere in Sebastian's because I'm really decluttering. Rent had gone up one time that time, so for it to be like raised a good chunk every single year is not normal to me, and I'm like, yeah, I can't live somewhere that's going to do this to me every single year. Like, you can't keep bouncing the rent up by like big chunks when wages aren't changing. And it's very frustrating, because like the first time my rent was up, like the reason they gave was like, oh, I'm sure you'll understand cost of living crisis and all, and I'm like, I feel like me, single woman living alone, probably understands cost of living crisis more than you, who owns multiple properties from what I've been told. I feel like we're in different positions. It's the same like this time around, whenever emotional support Benny. Whenever I got the email being like, hey, pay or get out, essentially. It wasn't put quite that bluntly, but that was the gist of it. I sent an email trying to reason with her, and I was like, hey, is there any way just, for the next year we could put off raising the rent? And I gave a lot of good reasons as to why, and I also, like, I've been a good tenant, like, I'm just here by myself, I'm quiet, I don't throw parties, I don't have any loud pets, I don't have loud children, like, I'm very unintrusive as a person, so I was like, maybe out of kindness they'll put off raising the rent, but no, they came back to, and like one of the things I said was, in the amount of time that they want me out of the house, literally not possible. There is a housing crisis going on. It is so hard to find anywhere, because every house you apply for, you'll have about 20 other people also applying for it. So landlords are absolutely spoilt for choice, and being like self-employed and alone makes it really difficult, because if it's me versus, you know, like a married couple, both in like normal, like stable jobs, I'm not going to get picked. So and I have a cat as well, and everywhere is like really anal about pets. It's incredibly hard to find a place that will allow you to have pets. And like, again, people try to tell me they're not allowed to say you can't have pets, but the thing is, they will ask, and I can't lie about that in case I get caught out. And, you know, whether or not they're allowed to ban pets, if they see me who has a pet and someone else who does not, they can just choose the person who does not. They don't have to give a reason. So I'm sorry I'm rambling so much, it's just my head has been fried the past few days from this. But basically, incredibly hard to find a place. Like, looking for this place, you guys might remember, it was months. I was going to so many viewings every single week, putting loads of applications in, and it was months before I got this place, and she was expecting me to be out of here in less than a month. And I'm like, that's not possible. So like, one of the things I like said in my email trying to reason, I was like, you know, the housing crisis is pretty... I said things probably more formally than I'm going to put them in this video, because I tried to be like, you know, not professional, but whatever. But basically, the gist of it was, the housing crisis is fucking mental right now. There are too many people and not enough houses. There is no possible way on this earth that I can be in another place within a month. And she came back and said, nope, we're still raising the rent, and we've been told that, like, you know, if we relisted it, we could get like almost £1,000 a month. So like, oh, and I'm like, oh wow, I'm so happy for you that you could get so much money. However, this is my home we're talking about. And one of the things she literally said after saying that to me was parroting back what I just said, and she literally said, the demand for housing is unprecedented right now, it would seem. And I'm like, yes, that's what I just said, and that's why I can't be out of here in the amount of time you're trying to give me. So it's things like that are incredibly frustrating, and it's really hard not to get like frustrated and irritated when like dealing with these matters, but like you can't, because you're talking to someone who, like, you know, controls whether or not you have a home. And like, whenever they just don't care about that, it's really, really hard to remain pleasant, but you have to. So yeah, I've been put in a position where my only option realistically, and I have really considered all of the possible ways of doing things, my only option is to leave. And I've had my big cry about that, and I'm hoping I'm not going to cry in this video, because the last thing the internet needs is another video of me crying. But I think I've gotten a lot of it out, and have like kind of managed to like just come around to the whole thing like quite quickly. I had my big old cry for a couple of days, and now I'm like, right, just need to deal with it. But I am just a crier. Like that bit in Friends where Rachel's talking to her boss and she's like, I need to warn you, I may cry, but these are not tears of anger or of sadness, but just of me having this discussion with you. That is so me. I really struggle to talk about serious things like crying, and it's really annoying. But I feel okay right now. But I am really sad. Like, I am genuinely sad to be like having to leave this house, and especially under like such short notice, because, you know, a lot of you who've been around for the past 2 years will like remember like how big of a deal it was getting this place, and like the sense of relief of like finally finding somewhere. Because, you know, I had like a really horrible situation where like I was literally chucked out of my home in the middle of the night without a penny to my name and nowhere to go but like a cold, barely office space in what is essentially like an old Victorian linen mill. And it was like in winter, it was freezing, I didn't have a shower, I didn't have laundry facilities, I didn't have a kitchen. I was turfed out into the void with nothing. And it was absolutely awful. And I lived that way for, God, it must have been close to 6 months. It was like from October until end of October till end of April. I was living that way, and it was awful. And a lot of you guys followed along with that struggle and like saw me crying and saw like how terrible it was. And then you were with me when I got this place, and I was like so happy and so excited and so relieved. And I was like, oh my God, I can like go to the kitchen and make some toast. Oh my God, I can just go have a shower when I want. I can wash my clothes whenever I want. That was like all... Oh God, it was like such a big thing, and this was the place. See, now this is where I'll start getting emotional, but I won't. I'm not going to cry. You know, this was the place where I got to do that, and I put like, you know, effort into making it nice. Which, side note, I thought I'd uploaded a video of like me doing this room, and it turns out I hadn't. I think sometimes because I spend so long recording certain videos and stuff, and like I'll organize the footage into a folder, in my head it's done and I think I've uploaded it and I haven't, and that happens like quite a lot. So I probably will still do that video. It's a little fucking redundant now because I'm leaving, but I will see exactly what footage I have for that and put it together. And I also found I have another video I thought I did but apparently didn't, me opening like housing stuff that people sent me for this, so I need to sit down at some point and actually go through all my folders and figure out what videos I haven't done that I thought I did and just get them up, because even if it's late, like whatever. But yeah, so like getting this, and you know, this is the first place I've lived like me just alone completely, no parents, no partner, and that was like, you know, a really, really big deal for me. And I've like set down roots and I've like made my little spaces and like whenever I signed on for this place, I didn't foresee this whole sort of situation coming, and now that it has, like, it's just really disheartening. Like, I thought this was somewhere that I was going to be able to settle into for like a good few years. And then, you know, that first year passed and they upped the rent and I was like, oh no, is this going to be a thing? And yeah, it is. So now I am left with several dilemmas. Even just little stupid things that are really the least of my worries have been like, huh, like I was like, the morning after, like, finding all this out and, like, you know, coming to, like, realizing that I need to get the fuck out of here, I was, like, lying in bed. I'm looking at my bed and I'm like, I don't know how to take this apart. I know I put this thing together. Don't know how to do it the other way around. Do not know how to take this thing apart to get it out of this house. And, you know, even just, like, the fact that I'm gonna have to, like, pack up the whole house and, like, try to, like, do all that alone. My friends have said they'll try to help, which I appreciate. And it's very sweet of them. But, you know, like, people have jobs and people are busy. And it's not anyone's responsibility but mine. So if people do manage to help, that'll be really lovely and sweet of them. But, you know, in general, dealing with all this is, like, entirely on me. And I'm like, oh, no. Oh, no, I am bummed. But yeah, so I need to, God, very quickly start trying to pack up everything I own. And that's the thing as well, like giving like short notice for like a big move sucks extra. Like it's one thing if you're someone who's like renting out a room in a place that's furnished. Like moving on short notice still sucks ass. But there's a big difference between that and renting an unfurnished house, which means you have had to buy all of your furniture and you own everything in the house, like even the dryer and everything. Trying to move on short notice with like so much stuff is also yeah, so that's one thing. And then it's the case of I have a decision to make, because before all this happened, like in the past sort of like few weeks, I had made a different decision, which is kind of being thrown into the air by this, but I had decided that I want to spend the next year really trying to buckle down, start getting more videos out, because like I have just been struggling to stay like on top of that shit. I think one of the problems is with everything in my life I'm very all or nothing, so like it's either like pumping out like multiple videos per week or I just don't do anything for weeks. And I want to at least just try to get onto a middle ground of just like, okay, one video a week. One video a week, just try to do that. Which I am on schedule for, so I put out a video last week. I already have this week's video edited, although actually saying that this video is probably now this week's video. But then I have another one edited after this, and another one filmed that still needs edited after that, so like I am ahead of schedule on that, and I was like, great, that's step one. Step two is trying to get my Patreon up. I'm also like trying to downsize a bit, because I have too much crap. I have been hoarding stuff for like 15 years at this point, and it's ridiculous. It's too much. I am like overwhelmed with the amount of crap I have. So I finally got onto like the whole Vinted thing, and I'm slowly starting to shift things. Like it's going well, but it has still barely made a dent, so I need to like continue with that. But so yeah, I've been like, want to get on top of videos, want to try to up my Patreon, and want to start selling off a bunch of stuff, partially to get rid of as much crap as possible, and also partially to try to save some money, because by this time next year what I wanted was to hopefully be in a position where I could start considering moving to London. Whether or not I was gonna achieve that, who knows. Like, I could have, or I could have ended up somehow worse off than right now. It's hard to say, but that was kind of the decision I'd come to. I was like, right, time to buckle down this year and try. And because everyone keeps saying like, why don't you move to London? Why don't you move to London? And it's getting to the point where it's like, yeah, why don't I? So that was something I was starting to really consider, but obviously this has kind of changed that plan. So now I have to leave this place. That is a fact. That's what's happening. I'm not gonna pay like this massive rent increase and like just constantly be stressed about my landlord. So I need to leave here. So it's a case of, do I try to find another house like similar to this one and, you know, like have everything set up again and like, you know, like live the way I want to be living? Or do I pack up everything except for like the essentials, stick everything I own into a storage unit, and get somewhere cheap as fuck, even if it's a bit miserable, and then spend the next year saving all the money I would have been spending here so that I can be in a better position next year to potentially move. And on one hand, like, I don't want to give up, like, all my, like, creature comforts. Like, you know, I have enjoyed living in this space and, you know, having this much room to myself, having everything set up the way I like it, like, that's been really nice, and I don't want to give that up, and especially after, like, being in a really crap living situation for, like, 6 months before this. And also, it wouldn't be the same thing. I'm gonna be somewhere that has, like, a shower and a kitchen and, you know, the basic necessities, but it wouldn't have, you know, this kind of situation. So that's... I don't know when that stopped recording. My card filled up and I couldn't figure out why it filled up, and I remembered I had started filming, like, a big decluttering video, so there's, like, a lot of just, like, long stretches of me doing stuff in here and, like, listing stuff on Vinted and moving stuff around and whatever. Don't know if I'm still gonna... I guess if I do continue with that video, it's gonna go in a different direction. I don't really know. It was just gonna be like a declutter with me, and now it's like a whole separate thing. Anyway, I don't know when that stopped, but my point was, do I move into another place similar to this with plenty of space that's going to be more expensive, or do I just shove everything in storage for a year, live somewhere kind of shit, but save a lot of money, and then try to go off and live in London? Because I'm sick of missing things. Like, the amount of times a friend from London will message me and be like, hey, are you in London this week? Like, do you want to go to this event? I'm like, I'm in Belfast. And I'm just tired of that. And, like, there's just, like, a lot more for me there right now, other than, like, moving away from my mum and moving away from my friends will be difficult. But if I do move, then I plan on coming back here quite a lot anyway. And also, like, everyone, I was talking to my friend Carrie about this yesterday, everyone is so busy that I feel like I barely see people anyway a lot of the time. Whereas, like, you know, if I'm coming back on a, like, fairly regular basis, I think, like, I'd almost be, like, see people more often, because if I live somewhere else and I'm coming back for, like, X amount of days, it's, like, more of a reason for people, like, to, like, you know, find the time to, like, get together or whatever. So I don't know. That's a separate issue, really. That's a whole thing. But yeah, the decision to make right now is where I want to go right at this moment. And, you know, it's one of those things where, like, if I was planning on, like, putting down roots here and, like, staying for however many years, I would be looking for another place like this. But because I already kind of had it in my head that next year I'd like to move to London, it doesn't make sense to, like, find somewhere and decorate it and put it together the way I did this place and all the rest, if the goal is to move anyway. So why not make some sacrifices and live a less comfortable lifestyle for a year, and then hopefully be able to, you know, make something pretty big happen. So that's where I'm at. That's what I'm pondering. But either way, the next couple of weeks, and God, as well, it's like, I have very limited time to get shit done here. I have very limited time to pack everything up and try to find somewhere. And in that limited time, I have another trip to London that's already all booked. And, you know, this, like, moves are expensive. This is gonna cost me a lot of money that, like, I've had a bunch of shit I've had to pay for recently, like my car being fucking, and car tax, and then all of that, and then, like, solicitor crap, you know, like, there's been, like, a lot of, like, fucking expenses recently, so having, like, a whole house move come along top of that, I am going to be so fucking broke from this situation. So I can't really afford to be, like, losing out on the money that I've paid on those flights that would then be reimbursed by the job I'm doing in London. So, like, I have to go, but then that's time away from, like, sorting this out. Oh, very annoying. That's another thing, like, fucking, remember I was saying, like, how expensive it is to, like, keep this house going and just, like, live in this area in general? People always, like, get on at me for, like, going to London so often, like, oh, like, it must cost you so much money. I actually, it's so bad here that I look forward to going to London because I save money by being in London. Who ever heard of such a thing? But it's true, because I'm not, you know, paying for, like, hotels or whatever. Like, you know, whenever I go out over there, I'm like, I'm not paying for drinks or anything, and then I'm not having to spend money on electric heating and petrol. I save money by being there. Like, whenever I went over last October, I was there for, like, a month. Do you know how much money I saved by staying in a squat in London for a month? Rather than being here? And do you know what else? The squat was warmer than my fucking house. The squat was genuinely warmer and toastier than my house is, and I was saving money by being there. I was this close to being like, could I just move to London and squat? Which, do you know what? At this point, after, like, you know, being there for a bit, I sort of would be up for it, because the main thing that was putting me off for a while was, like, oh, but you don't have, like, security, you know, like, they can, like, kick you out at any time. And I'm like, in my time renting over the past 12 years, I've had plenty of times where landlords have been like, tee-hee, we're selling the house, get out. Tee-hee, we're gonna up your rent, get out. So really, it's not that much secure, like, that much more secure to rent. But realistically, I wouldn't be able to squat, because my job, you know, working from home means I have, like, all this fucking computer and camera equipment. So, like, you have to be able to, like, move quick. And, like, if the bailiffs turned up and was, like, turfing everyone, what the fuck am I gonna do with all of this? So because of that, realistically, it's not a possibility, but I was this close. I was this fucking close to genuinely looking into that lifestyle, because I was just kind of like, fuck rent and spending all this bloody money when I could just be here, toasty and warm. So yeah, it's just ridiculous that I look forward to going away, because it's like, a little break from all of the things here that want my money. Oh my god. So, I know there's been like a lot of laughing and stuff through this video, but that's just kind of how I deal with serious things sometimes, and also it's like how I'm dealing with this, that instead of sitting here crying, I'm just gonna laugh at my misfortune. But I actually am very, very stressed and very upset. And I don't really know how the next X amount of weeks are gonna go. I still actually need to respond to my landlord here. I'm trying to, the whole thing just gives me so much anxiety. But yeah, I just wanted to get the ball rolling and give you guys a heads up that that's what's about to start happening here. So I guess come along on this process with me once again. But yeah, I feel like this is being very rambly and confusing, but I am rambly and confused. So that tracks. I don't know, just thanks for sticking with me. I have appreciated all your support up until this point, and I appreciate your continued support as my life turns upside down once again. Just 5 minutes of peace. 5 minutes where nothing bad is happening would be excellent. Literally whenever I posted in the group chat about this, like one of my friends was like, oh my god, you never get a break. And I'm like, no, I know. Because I don't like, you know, I share a lot of my life on the internet, but I don't share like every single thing, and it's just like the amount that you guys have seen go wrong, and also the things that I've never told you about, just like the behind the scenes things that have gone wrong, it's just mental. I'm like, can I just relax for a little while? A month or two? Oh, all I want right now is to like go away to a spa for a night or two and just have someone squeeze the life out of me. Like a massage, but like a really aggressive one. Just my shoulders are so knotty and I keep waking up with like really bad headaches, and I'm just stressed. But there'll be none of that for me. No, time to get to work. So I need to order all my packing supplies. But hey ho, that's what's happening. So I guess that's all there is to say. And a few people on my Discord were asking, like, you know, best way to support during this time, and like, for one, just keep being your wonderful selves. Two, if you do want to support in other ways, Patreon, excellent way to do so. The link for that's down below. You can set it to like any number you want, you can change it whenever you want, you can cancel whenever you want. It's all very like in your hands. So if you'd like to support me on Patreon, would appreciate that so much, now more than ever, because I'm about to have a lot of stupid crap to pay for. So yes, very much appreciate everyone who's already on there, and anyone who is wanting to sign up or up their pledge or anything else. You're all absolute angels. Links to other bits and bobs are in the description, and of course Vinted, like double way to help out, because can save some pennies from that, and you can take some of this stuff out of my house. So yeah, so Vinted, Patreon, everything else that's down there, great ways to support. And also just the emotional support I get from you guys is always incredibly appreciated. So yeah, but I am going to go. I need to do a lot. There's a lot I need to do. I need to order packing supplies. I'll probably look into storage units either way, because, you know, there's a good chance I'm going to have to be out of here before I find somewhere to live, so that'll be easier to do if stuff's at least not here, and then I can like figure things out. I don't know. I'm gonna look into storage units, need to get quotes for that. I don't know, I have too many things to do and my brain isn't working at all. Too many thoughts. I've been trying to talk to people on the phone about this recently, and I have to get them to repeat themselves like 5 times because my brain just keeps wandering off and all of the shit that he's done, and I'm like, ah! So yeah. Oh, and I'm also babysitting my mum's dog from tomorrow, which is coming at a really bad time, but that was all organised before this happened, so. Okay, well, I am going to go and stare into the void for 5 minutes screaming to myself, and then I'm going to get started on all the things that I need to do. And I need to figure out what I'm packing for London in like 2 weeks or something. Woohoo! So come join me at Slimelight. I post on my stories on Instagram if you want to add your name to the guest list to get half price, and woo boy am I gonna need to blow off some steam, so let's party. I'll see you there. It's the 4th, May the 4th is the next Slimelight, so if you are going to be in London around those dates and wish to join, please do so. That would be amazing. I love meeting you guys, it's all so sweet. Okay, my brain's not working enough for all of the like, comment, and subscribe stuff. I'm just gonna go. Thank you for watching. Help.